Okay, guys, first of all, before I do this, I want you to do me all a favor. Like the video, ring the bell for notification, subscribe to the channel, like I said, ring the bell for notifications, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and click on the link in the description to find my content elsewhere outside of YouTube. You can find me in all your favorite audio and video podcast affiliates like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Audible, Amazon Music, Spotify, Radio Public, wherever there's a podcast to be found, more than likely you will find mine there as well. Also, go support me at rumble.com, at odyssey.com, vimo.com, and also check me out at patreon.com, support me there, and at Venmo and Cash App. It would be greatly appreciated. And the live chat is open, guys. If you want to say hi in there or donate, the super chats are also open during the live chat. And then afterwards, super thanks are open as well. But, yes, let's get on to the topic. And we are, yes, at the 75th page of the Zigzag centric Sabrina online story Stripes and Links. Hard to believe we are here, but what a page it is, because basically this page, I'm going to read it to you, but this page basically makes Zigzag come to the realization that, yeah, maybe there's something about her that she hates because of who she's talking to right now. I'll explain. So basically, page 75 starts off like this. Basically, page 75 starts off like this. The father basically tells her, you know, after you left home, I figured you'd grow up into a carbon copy of your mother. But now that you're here in front of me, I'm seeing a good amount of myself in there too. And boy, does this get Zigzag pissed. Zigzag is not liking hearing that comparison, you know. It's like, you know, basically it's a compliment. You know, it's a compliment for people to say, hey, you're a lot like your mom, or you're a lot like your father, or you're a blending of both, and that's a good thing. Well, in Zigzag's case here, she is not wanting to hear anything that says she's a lot, you know, that she's a lot like her father. She is just like, no way, stop right there. No, she's like, I am nothing like you. But this is where it gets interesting. So anyway, Zigzag, she, you know, gets out of her chair and she's like, you know, angrily, she's like, how? I'm nothing like you. And the father basically, he's surprised. He's just like, he's sitting there just like stunned by her reaction. And he's like, hey now, don't take it the wrong way. I meant it as a compliment. And Zigzag, she's still standing up and she's still angry. She's like, how, how in the hell is that a compliment? And the father's response is, I just mean that you're strong and tough. You got fire in you. You're the type that gets shit done. And I think I could say that, right? I think that time. Yeah, I got by the time. There's a certain time restraint, I think, or something. But anyway, he's like, you know, again, he's like, I just mean that you're strong and tough. You got a fire in you. You're the type that gets crap done. We'll put it that way. Hopefully, you know, there's nothing wrong there. But anyway, he goes on to say that I figure that's why you're the success you are. You don't take any crap, and you don't let anyone stand in your way. And then Zigzag gets this look on her face, like it's like realization is starting to hit her. It's starting to hit her exactly what he's saying, because he goes on to continue saying, "You're someone who sees what they want and takes it, and you ain't gonna take no for an answer." And again, Zigzag's got this look on her face, like, "Oh my God, he's right," because the realization's dawning on her that the reason she goes after the likes of Sabrina, or she used to go after the likes of Sabrina, or why she did what she did with Endora, or why she would just go right after, you know, even if they're willing and accepting of it, she'd go right after someone like Sheila Vixen, or Helena Dish, or Stacy and Tracy Skunk, you know, or even Tina Lynx, her, you know, bisexual lover and stuff. You know that, you know, basically she's starting to realize that she gets that she's starting to realize that the father is right. She's doing exactly what he does. You know, she gets that from him, and again the realization's starting to hit her. And then he asks her, "Am I wrong?" And in Zigzag, she's sitting down. You know, her her left hand is in her. She has her head in a palmed in her. She has a left hand on top of her forehead, palming it, and she has her like her fist down on the desk on her side of the glass, and she's like, "I really want to say that you are." And that's how we end that's how we end that page. But it's really interesting because we were wondering, and I think I even alluded to this, of whether or not we were going to get maybe an answer to whether or not you know Zigzag was going to come to realize she's a lot like the father than more than she realizes. And the fact that she just reacts instantly the way she does, going like, "How?" When the father basically says, "Hey, you got not just not just your mother in you. You're not just like your mother, but you're also like me." He's basically telling Zigzag, "You got the best of your mom, and you got he's like, you got the best of your mom and the best of me in there. Like you got your traits from your mom, your motherly nature from your mom, kind of stuff." And you got that strong, tough fire, like take no, shit from anybody attitude from me. And Zigzag again, she doesn't want to hear this. She's like, no way. She's like, no, that's not true. I'm nothing like you. I mean, the fact that she instantly gets up out of her seat, looks down at him through the glass, and says, "How? I'm nothing like you." She literally yells at him like, "I'm nothing like you." And the father trying to, I guess, be the more sensible one, saying, hey, don't take it the wrong way. I meant it as a compliment." And then Zigzag's like, "Well, what do you mean a compliment? How is that a compliment?" Because again, remember the father put Brandon, put the mother. Brandy was the exception. She was just too young to even remember. But basically, she's taking, the way she's reacting is because of the fact that, the father saying that to her. She's remembering, not remember, but she recalls and remembers all the times that he basically did what he did to her and the mom and Brandon. And it's like, to her, it's like, how can you even make that comparison? It's like, to her, it's like, how dare you make that comparison? I am nothing like you. I will never be like you. But yet the father points out, hey, you know, I'm just saying, you're strong and tough. You got fire in you. You're the type that gets shit done. In other words, he's telling her that the reason he says the reason he says that she's kind of like not just the mother, Ellie, but him as well, is because when he was young, I guess before everything went awry, went crazy, he would be the kind that basically would stick up for himself, and he would be the kind to go out there and get stuff done. He would get crap done. He would not let people stand in his way, you know. And the more he's saying this, to Zigzag and everything, even pointing out that him figuring that her being the success she is she doesn't take any crap and she doesn't let anybody stand in her way. Again, the reaction Zigzag has, that look that she has of, oh my God, he's right. He's actually right. That I do act that way. I do make I do kind of basically she's realizing that everything he's saying, much to her dismay and regret, is true. It's true about her. She's basically in a way taking what he's been known for and using it in her own way. Maybe not the way he would do later on that landed him in jail, for who knows how long. But basically, she's using those same kind of traits and everything. And then when he asks her, "Am I wrong here?" She just sits down, like I said, starts sitting down, puts her left hand over her forehead, basically puts her head in her left palm, and then bangs, kind of, I wouldn't say bangs on the other side of the glass, on the little bench, a little, what is it, little table there or something, like end table. She just puts her fist down, not like in frustration, but basically you can tell she's like realizing, that he's right, because her answer is, "I really want to say that you are." And by her basically answering when he says, "Am I wrong here?" Asking her that question, her saying, "I really want to say that you are." That's her way of saying, "No, you're right. I am like you. I do act like you are. I did used to act like you. I used to do these kind of things. I used to be that way, and I still am." She's realizing that the reason she does what she does, The reason she acts the way she does, the reason her Double Z Studios is the success that it is because she is basically everything her father was before things went awry. Everything went crazy, with him. She's basically somebody that will look you in the eye and say, "You're wrong, and I'm going to prove you wrong," and she'll go out and do it. I mean, let's not forget let's not forget when Sabrina got beat, when Sabrina was shot and basically near death. Thank God she survived. But remember when Sabrina got mugged, and I think he was shot. Yeah, she survived and everything. But what did Zigzag do? Zigzag went straight to that place, went straight to the alleyway, where that guy was, and basically took matters into her own hands and beat the living bejesus out of this mugger for what he did to Sabrina. And that's what the father is getting at, that she's the kind of person that will go out and do that kind of stuff. But yet, for her to, react, the way she did at first when he brought that up, you could side with her in a way that, yeah, she's not like the father. She's more caring, not just about not just about her family, but she's caring about those that she considers family. Sabrina, she considers family. Tina Lynx, her bisexual lesbian lover, she considers family. Sheila Vixen, Helena Dish, Stacy and Tracy. She considers them family. She considers Sabrina's family her family. And she'll protect them no matter what. She'll look out for them no matter what. And and for her to react the way she did, initially saying, I'm nothing like you," she's right. But him pointing out all these other things, it's pretty much her in a nutshell. But again, her realization is when he's saying this to her, she's like, "Oh crap, he's right. I am like him. I am, everything he says she's like, I am everything he says I am, even when I want something." And when he tells her that last part of, "You're the kind of person that will take what you want and not take no for an answer," she's realizing again that that's why she acts, sorry about that, guys. I thought I heard something. But anyway, like I said, that's why she, the realization, like I said, is starting to dawn on her because she is right. She's not like the father, but she's starting to realize that everything he's telling her, he's telling her after that is true. It basically is her to a T because, like I said, she went and found the mugger, attacked Sabrina, beat the living bejesus out of him. Yeah, she had to go, by court order, she had to go get psychiatrical therapy, and she kind of, had her way, if you will, with the therapist, the psychiatrist. And they kind of have a very, I guess you could say, benefits like deal going on. But the point is, the realization that she's getting here of, oh my gosh, I am like him, but not like him, like him. I'm, basically, she's realizing she has those traits and everything. And that's why, anybody she considers family, like I mentioned, the names that I mentioned, she's very protective of. She will look out for, she will take care of and defend. But the realization is hitting her because, again, when he tells her in the second to last panel that you're someone that doesn't take no for an answer, you take what you want no matter, you don't, basically him telling her you take what you want and you don't take no for an answer, it's dawning on her, again, as I mentioned before, mentioned previously, that I just mentioned previously in the video, I should say, it's dawning on her that she's basically what he's saying there, is how she acted, in the past. Like when she was going after Sabrina, or she would go after someone willing, like let's say a Sheila Vixen, or even someone willing like a Stacy and Tracy, because they wanted a job, or so on and so forth. She's realizing that you know, she's realizing that, that trait of, hey, take what you want and you don't take no for an answer, she's realizing that, yeah, that is her, but that's also her father. And that's something she doesn't want. And obviously, she's realizing, now that that's something that, she gets from her father, and now she's going to have to realize when it's all said and done, it's something she doesn't want. That's something she's got to fix. And I think what's going to happen is, like I said before, when it's all said and done here, when she heads back, she's gonna apologize to Endora for what she did. She's gonna explain the reason she left for a while, and she's gonna come to admit that the reason she does or she did the things that she had done in the past and will try not to do again is they are traits she gets unfortunately from the father. It's like she'll go to Sabrina and say, when you first started working for us, the reason I went after you is because I was just like my father. I didn't want to. She said I saw something I wanted, and I wasn't going to take no for an answer. And then she'll probably bring up that is until you gave me a good one right in the face. And she said that pretty much woke me up and made me realize, oh, I'm being like my father, and I shouldn't be doing that. you know. So basically, she's going to probably explain the whole situation, explain that, she gets these from the father, and that's why she acts the way she does. That's why she's protective and protective and everything, and all that. It's because these are things, unfortunately, she gets from the father, and some of those traits she's going to try to, work better at not doing. So so overall, to have the realization for her, a realization here for her as to the fact that she does have that she does take after her father a lot, but also take after her mother in this unique hybrid is an interesting revelation for her. And again, the reaction she has, the facial reaction she has to that realization, and her basically in a way in the last panel admitting that yeah, he's right, because she wants to say he's wrong, but in a way she knows he's right, and that basically what she's dealing with is a unique hybridness of both personalities, from both parents. But overall, great 75th page, and we were wondering if the revelation was going to come forward, and it has, and now we're seeing it, and now we're seeing basically the next step happening, and I'm not going to be surprised if Zigzag comes out and tells the father when he asks her, well, what do you mean? Because he's going to ask her, well, what do you mean you wish I was wrong? And everything, and then she's just going to come out and probably and admit to him it's because she's done things she's not happy about, and it's because it's because she gets that I take what I want, take no for an take no for an answer. She'll probably admit to him, like, he's right about some of the traits, including the take what you want and not take no for an answer deal. So I can see her, talking to him about that and admitting it to him, and him probably being surprised that of all people, that of all people in the family that he knows of, that she'd be the one to carry on that trait. That maybe he'll come out if he come out and maybe show maybe he's not still a scumbag. Maybe he'll come out and say, hey, maybe he'll be surprised and be like, whoa, I didn't expect that out of you, someone that, hates my guts for what I did. And, maybe he'll admit that, look, being in here, I admit I was wrong for what I did, but I can't change the past now. I can't. I'm paying for my sins, and I'm just, and I keep, maybe he'll reiterate what he did in the last panel. He'll just, on the last page, that after he gets out, if he does, you know, he'll just go on and disappear, move on with his life, you know. But again, great 75th page, a great page of revelation and realization for Zigzag to kind of in her own way acknowledge, much to her surprise, that everything the father is saying about her, that the things, the traits she gets from him, along with what she gets from the mom, to see Zigzag's realization of crap, he's right, and everything, and then her saying that she at the end that she really wants him to be wrong, but he's not. That's very telling, and can't wait to see what the reaction is going to be, or the response is going to be in page 76. Again, she'll probably tell the father if he asks her, well, what do you mean? She'll probably admit to him that she's done things that's very similar to what he's done, but it took one friend of hers to basically literally sock some, or punch some, or knock some sense into her, and make her realize that, hey, you can't always get what you want, aunt, and everything. You got to take no for an answer. So I got a feeling I got a feeling come page 76 that might be what happens. And again, if the father wants to show that he's not a scumbag like he's still viewed as and everything, if he wants to show he's trying to reform, maybe maybe he, once he hears that, he'll realize what he's done. Well, he does realize what he's done, but he'll realize even more what he's done and the effect that it's had on his family, mostly his oldest. And that, basically maybe he'll come out and say, "Hey, I didn't expect that to come out of you or you to admit to that because you're the last person I would expect to do that, or be like that, or something, something to that state, something to that extent, if you will." But really, again, great continuation, and it's definitely this Stripes and Link story is definitely on track to be the longest Sabrina online story. Again, I don't know when it's going to wrap up. My assumption, for like the earliest time could be holiday season this year, and the exact time could be at the start of next year, and maybe at the latest could be could be next spring. Basically celebrating 2 years since it started. But really, not bad at all, and I do highly recommend checking it out and supporting Eric W. Shorts and the Sabrina Online Patreon if you want to see more. Or if you want to be patient, it will show up a week later on the Sabrina Online webpage. But that's all I'm going to say, guys, on it. Let me know what your thoughts are down below if you haven't already done it in the live chat. And again, guys, do me a solid favor, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, and click on the links to find my content also outside of YouTube and support me in the various areas that you can. And super thanks will be open after the premiere is over in just a bit. But guys, give me your thoughts on how you feel about the story. I will say that basically I still believe we're going to get a very humorous ending with Endora kissing Zigzag as a way of forgiving her and everything, and then maybe she might even hint that, hey, you and I could kind of have a good time together if you would like, and all that. So we can probably see a hint at that if it occurs. And of course, I do believe we're going to get a Fur After Dark. We are going to get some Fur After Dark tie-ins when it comes to basically, some Fur After Dark tie-ins when it comes to things like, um, let's say, Endora and Warren getting it on when they got frisky. We might get that. We might get Tina and Zigzag in the hotel while they're on the road. And heck, we might even get Zigzag and Endora. We'll have to see. But really, I enjoyed it, and again, I highly recommend you guys check it out. But until next time, guys, let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section, as well as during the live chat. Like I said, well, already you would have done it in the live chat, but let me know what your comments are down below in the comment section. If you haven't done it in the live chat, that's what I'm trying to say. And until next time, guys, I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care.